Hear me? Can you hear me? So today we are going to be talking about can you hear me? Stream has started. If you can hear me, let me know in the comments. Who is with me? Who is with me? Who is with me? We are, if you are here right now. Oh, welcome, Dada Olutobi. There's so much issues with this network and it's really messing things up. It's really messing things up. Okay, so let me see whether no. Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Our network is always wonderful. I hope it's steady. Let's see that it's steady up. You're welcome. You're welcome. Say hello. Okay, so let's start. We will start with unpopular but practical tips. Practical help you in your writing module. Unpopular but practical tips. Now, these are the tips. Quickly, the first one has to do with the task response. The task response. You know that there are 4 band descriptors: task response or task achievements. We have coherence and cohesion. We have, what's the other one? Lexical resources and grammatical range and accuracy. These are the criteria that the examiner will be assessing your work on. So if that is the case, you need to make sure that you are ticking all the dots. You are giving the examiner what he or she wants using these criteria. How do you do that? Tip number 1, make sure that you sufficiently address all parts of the task. By that I mean, if you are given a question that tells you discuss both opinions and give your opinion, and you only address one of the opinions in that question, you are not going to get your full marks because you have not sufficiently addressed all parts of the task. So you have people, ideally a task should only, your response to a task should be no more than 5 paragraphs. So say you are given this sample question. In the near future, people will no longer pay cash to buy stuff. Some people believe that they will always buy online. Others say that they can only do cash. So you are asked to discuss both opinions and give your opinion. So the first part of that question says they will always buy online. They don't need to use cash. The second part says they will always use cash. And you just address the reasons people will buy online. You did not talk about using cash. So the network keeps bouncing. Tip number 2, present a clear position throughout your response. Present a clear position. How do you present a clear position? In the same example I used, you are to give your opinion. Your opinion must be clearly stated. You can take sides with either those who say it's cash all the way, or you take sides with those who say it's just online purchases. And you must state your opinion clearly. Usually, you don't need to create another paragraph to express your opinion. You just need to state your position clearly in the introductory paragraph and restate it in the concluding paragraph. That is for questions that asks for your opinion. For the idea essays, the questions can come in form of double questions, can come in form of advantages versus disadvantages. For the advantages versus disadvantages, you may be asked that does the advantage outweigh the disadvantage? If the advantage outweighs the disadvantage, that position must be clearly stated. You don't just write without stating that position that yes, the advantages outweigh the disadvantage or the disadvantage outweigh the advantage. Whatever position you are taking, you must clearly state it throughout your response. You will do that in the introductory paragraph and restate it in the concluding paragraph. Tip number 3, ensure that you extend and support your ideas with relevant examples, scenarios, case studies, as the case may be. Ensure that you extend your ideas and support it with relevant examples. Most times, students fail to get their desired balance. Students use mismatched examples or scenarios or instances. You must make sure that whatever example or scenarios or cases you are using is extended and supported with the relevant examples as the case may be. That's tip number 3. Now let's move on to coherence and cohesion. Now these tips that I am talking about right now, these tips are going to help you get a band 8. They will help you achieve a band 8 plus, and you will be able to see clearly the difference between a band 6 plus an essay that gives you a band 6 and an essay that gives you a band 8. Usually, when I vet or correct essays written by students, the student has to go through first draft, second draft, third draft before I get the perfect example. So I'm going to make a document available to those of you joining me live. If you joined me live, I'm going to ask you some questions such that I would be able to understand whether you got what I was saying. So we are in tip number what now? Can you chart the tips? The tips I've shared so far. How many tips have I shared so far? Are you with me? Please put it in the chat. Let me know. Let me see how many tips have I shared. Good. Now you are going to, yes, it is what it is. You keep trying to do things. All right, let me continue. If you heard, I hope you have your notes and you are taking notes. Let's talk about coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion. I'm going to be talking about tip number 4. And information must be arranged logically. Your ideas and information must be arranged logically. What do I mean? If does the advantage outweigh the disadvantage? Your ideas if you say that the advantages outweigh the disadvantage, you will now write 2 ideas that you are going to explain in one body paragraph each. And you are going to arrange them logically in such a way that it flows. You don't muddle up ideas. If you muddle 4 ideas in one body paragraph, what that will do is that you will not be able to explain and extend your ideas properly. And the goal, what actually gives you that band 8 plus is that you're not talking about advantages and disadvantages all in the same paragraph. You are arranging your paragraphs sequentially. The information, your ideas are clearly presented. There is this sample essay that I wanted to use for this live stream. Those of you who are present live now, when we are done, you will write a summary of what you learned and you will send it to me, and I will respond with that sample essay that I corrected from band 6 to band 8, and then I'll create a video that shows those points that I'm talking about. If we are writing more than one suggestion or idea, do we write it in different paragraphs? Yes. It depends on what the question says. If we are writing more than one suggestion or idea, it has to be an idea. Somebody can give me any random question. An idea is, for example, that question I used. People will always buy using cash. Do you discuss both opinions? People will always buy using cash. People always buy online. So what's your own idea to discuss that the reasons people will always buy online? You list 2 ideas, but you will discuss both sides and give your opinion. For each body paragraph, you can discuss no more than 2 ideas. No more than 2 ideas. That is for a discuss both sides and give your opinion. So that's essay that discusses both sides and gives your opinion. We have 4 paragraphs. 1 paragraph will be for the introduction. 1 paragraph will be for the conclusion. The 2 body paragraphs, an essay is made up of introduction, body, and conclusion. The 2 paragraphs in between the introduction and the conclusion are referred to as the body paragraphs. So body paragraph 1, we discuss 2 ideas only about why people will always buy using cash. The second body paragraph will discuss why people will always buy online. That is because that is a discuss both sides, and you can only write 2 ideas that is properly explained and extended in 1 paragraph to discuss 1 opinion, and the other paragraph to discuss the other opinion. So make sure that way, that's a typical example of ensuring that you sequence your information and ideas logically. You are not all over the place. If you are all over the place and the examiner is in one place is reading about the first opinion and the second opinion within the same body paragraph, it's a turn off. So you must arrange your ideas sequentially, and your information must be properly positioned logically. Let's talk about tip number 5. Use paragraphing sufficiently and appropriately. Use paragraphing sufficiently and appropriately. That's why I said your essay should have no more. Your essay should have no more than. Am I allowed to respond? I can just. Okay. So keep your questions coming. Take advantage of the fact that you are joining this live stream. Okay. So I said use paragraphing sufficiently and appropriately. People can write as much as 8 paragraphs totally. That's a no-no. Your paragraphing sufficiently in this case means that question the person has, please ask again, so that once I finish explaining use paragraphing sufficiently, I will respond to that question. So I was saying that using paragraphing sufficiently and appropriately means that your ideas are responded to in order. How many paragraphs are you supposed to have? no more than 5. And that 5, there are occasions where you have 4 paragraphs on the whole. You know that the introductory paragraph and the concluding paragraph, they will always be in all essays. The difference is now in the number of body paragraphs. Some essays we have just 2 body paragraphs, and some essays we have 3. An example of an essay that we have 2 body paragraphs only is a discuss one opinion type of essay. An essay that asks you to discuss one opinion. So a question can come like this. Some people say that family members are more important than friends. Do you agree? You are not going to be writing that family members. Do you agree or disagree? Let me put it that way. So your position will be, I agree. You see, I talked about your position must be clear. I agree that family members are more important than friends. Why? Because number one, family will always be there for you, and that's an idea. You also have to explain it. Number two, family members can grant financial aid in time of need. But even when you say family members will always be there for you, when you are now explaining it, that family members will give you financial aid can be used to explain the fact that they will always be there for you. So there will always be the main idea. The main idea is that they will always be there regardless of the circumstances you find yourself. How? Because, for instance, they will grant financial aid. So the first body paragraph will talk about that first idea, that family members will always be there for you. Of course, you are not going to just write it as family members will always be there for you, because you cannot be using colloquial terms. You must use vocabulary. We are coming to that thing. I want you to type the tip numbers as I mentioned them, so that you will always come back to see that comment. Please, someone should do that, and it will also help me to stay on track. All right. So that first body paragraph, we only have that first idea discussed. It's just one idea you will have in it, in a discuss one opinion type of question. If you have not watched my video on how to the type of essays to expect in the writing module, I can make the link available to you. You go watch it. So in that instance, the first one idea only will be discussed in body paragraph 1 for a discuss one opinion type of question. You must be able to distinguish between a. So it will not tell you discuss one opinion. It will not tell you discuss one opinion. It will just give you the question. You are the one that will decipher from the question whether you are discussing one opinion. But for discuss both sides and give your opinion is always very clear. So another example. So in the body paragraph 2, you now write the second idea and explain it sufficiently. Okay, so you must use paragraphing sufficiently and appropriately. Not writing 7 paragraphs, 8 paragraphs. It's not done. The best and the ideal, the maximum number of paragraphs you can have is just 5 paragraphs. Some essays will have 2 body paragraphs. Some essays will have 2 body paragraphs. An example of such is the discuss one opinion type of questions. Some essays will have 3 body paragraphs. Remember that introductory paragraph and concluding paragraph, they are always in all essays. All essays will definitely have introductory paragraph and concluding paragraph. So the questions that will have 3 body paragraphs, example of such questions is the question that says, does the advantage outweigh the disadvantage? Does the advantage outweigh the disadvantage? So if you say the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, that means you will dedicate 2 body paragraphs to talk about the 2 advantages relating to that question. You will use the 3rd body paragraph to address just one disadvantage. That's because you are saying the advantages outweigh the disadvantage. Are we clear? Let's go to the next tip. Use cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention. Use coercion in such a way that it attracts no attention. How do you use coercion in such a way that it attracts no attention? For instance, if you are writing the first paragraph, the first body paragraph, saying firstly, that word firstly to start with, to start that body paragraph is attracting attention. Saying secondly, thirdly, those words are used in the beginning of a body paragraph. It's attracting attention. So there are smart ways to use coercion without attracting attention. And using coercion means you are using it within the paragraphs. If you have written an idea, I always tell my students to write the idea, the sentence that is carrying the idea that is responding directly to a particular part of the question must be in the first sentence. For instance, if you say that one of the reasons family members are more important than friends is because family members will always be there for you, full stop. Instead of saying also, you now say moreover. Those are ways to use coercion in such a way that it doesn't call attention to you. Then paragraphing, that is arranging your paragraphs orderly. You cannot be reading to a paragraph in the introductory paragraph, for instance. That's what that means. Now let's go to lexical resources. Lexical resources means the vocabulary that you use in your write-up. You must be able to use a wide range of vocabulary with very natural and sophisticated control. Using a wide range of vocabulary, this network is just messing things up a great deal. Using a wide range of vocabulary means that words like important, you can use necessary, vital. Do you get the drift? Flexibly to convey precise meanings. Use wide range of vocabulary to convey precise meanings. Sometimes students I've worked with a lot of students. I've vetted, corrected, and reviewed many essays and task questions, writing IELTS writing task questions, and I noticed these flaws. For someone who, for myself, I had been stuck on band 6.5 3 times, so I consider that I'm currently stuck on a band 6. I was stuck on band 6.5 3 times. The 4th time I got a band 7.5, and this was just me doing my practice by self-practice. But some people would require that help to guide them in the right direction, and these live math classes are designed to help you, so that when you do your write-ups, when you do your practice, you can put these things into use. So you use a wide range of vocabulary, not always repeating one particular word. You have used a word like therefore in let's say and, or so, and so but. These are frequently used words. You keep using and so but, and so but, and so but. It will not give you beyond that band 6 plus. Do you understand? So for and, you can say, as well as for so, so you can say therefore. If you want to say but, for instance, you can say however instead of saying but. So the idea of using a wide range of vocabulary means that if you have used a particular, of course it's not all words that we have synonyms for them. This is where your synonyms come in. This is where you must have a wide range of vocabulary in your bank account, in your arsenal, in your kits. We speak frequently every day. We talk to people, we read newspapers, we read things online, and we have these words. You learn new words. Do you understand? So you must use a wide range of vocabulary fluently without sounding, and the meanings must be precise. The meanings must be precise. So I've used a few examples that come right off the bat, and when I come up with more words, I would just make it available to you. The next tip on lexical items, lexical resources talks about the words that you are going to be using to write, and you must not use words that you don't know the meaning. And again, it's not all words that will have synonyms. To, with, for, all these words, they are high frequency words. They are frequently occurring. But there are other words that, depending on the topic, you must be able to use uncommon lexical items. Appropriate. Instead of saying, who can give me examples? Just type a word, and let's look at other lexical items that we can use instead of that particular word. It's just about using synonyms. Synonyms are words with the same meaning. Do I still remember it? Right. Now let's move on to next. Understand. You can say comprehend. This is a high frequency word. This is a high frequency word, and I don't think there's any other lexical item that can replace this. So I know you understand what I'm saying, that tip. Let's move on to the next tip. I've lost count. We are on lexical resources, which is one of the tools that the examiner will be using to grade your work. You know, one of the mistakes I made that got me stuck on band 6.5 was that I did not even have an idea of what lexical resources mean. All these band descriptors, coherence and cohesion, what are they talking about? I'm like, I did not know it. I did not know it. I just went in and wrote the exam. Do you understand? So you must know these band descriptors. The band descriptors made public, the